Your body, your mind, and your environment are all trained by you. Let's start with the body. Your body is trained by you with what you consume. Whatever you consume, your body starts to depend on. So you might be dependent on carbs or caffeine or sugar or other extreme addictions. We all train our bodies to want and to need things. The ketogenic diet, as an example, is a way to retrain your body from needing carbs to actually needing fats. And so you have trained your body, whatever it is, to need a certain amount of sleep, to need certain types of foods, and you can retrain your body. The easiest way to retrain your body is to set clear goals and clear parameters for yourself. For example, if you're going to go 30 days with no sugar or no carbs, like having clear goals, but also having clear accountability. Clear accountability means that whatever you measure improves, whatever you measure and report improves exponentially. So you want to actually measure and report what you're eating. Tim Ferriss in the book, The 4-Hour Body, actually has a really good strategy for that. He said before you eat anything, you have to take a picture of it. And you have to take a picture and send it, for example, to your accountability partner. What if you had to take a picture of everything before you ate it? That would actually give you a few seconds to question if you actually want it. That's actually a good psychological strategy. In psychology, there's a concept called implementation intentions. What it means is that you plan for failure, or you have an automatic pre-planned response whenever you're faced with a situation. So let's just say you're faced with a situation and you get some craving and you want to eat food. Well, if the automatic response is that you have to pull out your camera, take a picture of it, and send it to your accountability partner or your health coach or whatnot, that automatic response might give you enough time for the craving to go away. Usually it's 10 to 60 seconds where you're in like the high extreme trigger state. So you have clear goals and parameters, which allows you to actually have a filter. You have accountability, which means you measure what you're eating and you report it to someone. And then you have some strategy, which allows you to be mindful in the heated moments. This could be take a picture of everything you eat. By the way, you can apply that to finances as well. If you had to pull out a notebook and write down everything that you were going to buy before you bought it, you would buy less of it. When you measure something, you manage it. And when you measure something, especially before you engage in it, you can manage it intentionally rather than being reactive. So you train your body. You train your body as to what it needs. You could ask yourself, what kind of body do I want? What do I want my body to need? You could train your body rather than needing carbs and sugars to need something healthier, fruit, vegetables, better sleep. You train your body what it needs. The second thing that you train is your mind or your worldview. In psychology, we call that selective attention. You have a trained worldview. Dan Sullivan said your eyes can only see and your ears can only hear what your brain is looking for. So the question is, what is your brain looking for and what have you trained yourself to see? Dr. Stephen R. Covey said, we don't see the world as it is, we see the world as we are or as we've been conditioned to see it. So you've trained yourself to see the world a certain way. If you're, for example, a Republican or a Democrat, you've been trained and nurtured to see the world a certain way. You can also untrain your mind. You can train yourself to see and focus on what you want to see. You do that by planting seeds. Your mind is like a garden. And so you have to proactively plant the seeds which start to grow. For example, reading good books, gratitude, journaling. You can train yourself to focus on and see what you want to see what you want to pursue. And I guess a good question would be, what is it that you're currently seeing and paying attention to right now? And what do you want to be seeing and paying attention to? The third thing that you train is your environment. Think, for example, of your news feeds. You've trained your environment to come at you a certain way. You train the world how to treat you. You train other people how to see and treat you. So everything in your environment is what you've trained. You've trained your environment to be a certain way, and now that environment is shaping you. There's a great quote from Churchill. He said, "We first build our house, then our house builds us." The same is true of your environment. If you do not create and control your environment creates and controls you. But if you create an environment, then whatever environment you've created will shape you. And so you want to be thoughtful about the environment you shape. You want to be thoughtful about the environment you train. If it comes to your news feeds, for example, look at your environment right now and see that you've trained it. You can always delete all the history off your phone and think, what are maybe the news feeds that I want to be feeding me? Or do I want none at all? So you can set better parameters, better rules, better defaults on your environment. You can reset the boundaries and expectations in your relationships. You can be more clear and honest about what you want. Maybe you can remove some people from your life. You train your physical body for what it needs. in terms of addiction, in terms of what you eat. You train your worldview and what you see, and you train your environment and ultimately what's coming at you and what's shaping you. The question is, are you going to take ownership over those three things? Are you going to better train your body to need and want better things? And by the way, one of the ways you retrain your body is to retrain the emotions that you need. Your physical body is actually a makeup of emotions. And so you may have trained your body to need the emotions of anger or jealousy or fear or shame, whereas as you kind of grow in your emotional development, you can train your physical body to prefer things and have a better emotional baseline of peace, gratitude, happiness, love, joy, acceptance. So you retrain your body in terms of the emotions that it needs and produces, but also the types of physical things such as food, stimulants, screens. So you've trained the addictions you have, and you can retrain those and train your physical body to need better things. There's a great quote that says, if your body controls your mind, then it becomes corrupt. But if your mind controls your body, then it can become pure and holy. So that's a great quote. So then the second thing is, obviously, you've trained your worldview. You've trained how you see the world. And if you want to retrain it, you plant the right seeds. You decide what you want. You start writing about it. You start planting those seeds. You start focusing on what you want. Whatever you focus on expands, and you can then train your worldview to see what you want to see. Gratitude is one of the most powerful ways to do that. And then your environment. You retrain your environment by eliminating the things you don't want, by setting clear boundaries and expectations, by being more honest, and by thinking about your future self. What are the things that you want to shape your future self? Just as an example, the thing behind me. I created this culture wall. This is called a culture wall because I wanted triggers in my environment that reminded me of my future self. Rather than having environments built all around me that are like landmines that trigger my former self or trigger trauma or habits or addictions, you want to train your environment to propel and support your future self and to eliminate things that you don't want. A great concept on that is called strategic ignorance, where you create boundaries in your environment and filters to block yourself from seeing anything. As an example, I have an assistant who has become my filter. I've given her rules for what I want to see and what I don't want to see, and then she presents only the things that I want to see. So you can create filters around yourself in your environment, and you can train your environment to support you having a flow state, to support you being where you want to be, to support you being present, to support you being intentional with your family. Those are the three things you train, and I'm not really sure how much more fundamental it gets. You train your body, you train your mind, you train your environment. The question is, are you going to take ownership of those three things? I'm Dr. Benjamin Hardy. Right here, you can get the next Future Self video. Please like this video. Please push the thumbs up. That really helps my channel. And subscribe if you want more Future Self videos. Have an amazing day.